Flying Turkey Trot by Gary Richrath of REO Speedwagon. He does some Mixolydian stuff, some pentatonic stuff, and at the end he does some really fast triadic arpeggios. Wow, that sounds really fancy. It is, and we're going to cover it all. Flying Turkey Trot. That's what we're doing today on Ray Plays Guitar. And I'm going to do it as simply as possible. Let's gobble it up. Flying Turkey Trot. This song came out in 1976, I believe. It's an instrumental that came out on their Cow album. It's that album that has the cowhide. Yeah, this came out back when REO was still good. Well, they obviously peaked when they came out with their High Infidelity album. That was their huge commercial success. But without Gary's blistering rock and roll guitar, it would be nothing. But I think after that, they kind of jumped the shark a little bit. But that whole time leading up to that, REO was fantastic. They had a lot of cool things going on. And this was one of their songs that I really dug as a kid. Flying Turkey Trot. So the main melody is, it starts off in G Mixolydian. So this riff basically involves these notes. So we have a G, that's our root. Then we have a third, fourth, flatted fifth, fifth, flatted seven, and then a root G here. And then we also have this third here, which we're really going to bend into from this flatted third into that. I usually pull it down though. So the riff goes like this. We're starting on G, going to the octave G, so far it's kind of pentatonic with this bend into the major third. Root, root, flat seven, root, flat third, bend to third, back to the root, flat seven, fifth, flat seven, root. Then the next part starts the same way. But then here, so this part starts on the root, and then we hit the octave to the flatted seven, and then do that same thing again quicker. Then this next part, we're going to hit each note twice, starting on this, and we're always going to go back to this root here. So starting twice on this root, to the third, to the fourth, flat five. So the last time we slide up from the flat five to the five. That's basically it. And I'm using different fingers. I don't know if I do anything consistently with this. Use whatever fingers you want, whatever makes sense, whatever you're comfortable with. So the second time we play that riff, we hit this chord. G sharp 5, roots on the 4th fret, 6th string, and that's a push into this next chord. We're just going to take what we played in G and shift it up to A. And this time at that same point, we're going to jump out of there and hit this B5 power chord. And that leads us to so this is just a series of power chords. It kind of just follows a pentatonic scale. E5 to a D5, right to a B5, and then an A5 twice. And then we have this little walk down. The note G on the 3rd fret, then F sharp, and then E5 here. Then we have this little thing. Open, 2, open, 3, open, 2, open of the 5th string. And then we do these power chords again. We're going to hit this open A5 chord, and then we're going to play 4, 3, 2 of the 6th string. G sharp, G natural, and then F sharp. We end on that F sharp, and that leads us right back into this time around, and he does this move live, moving up here and hitting this D7 without the root. I'm just playing 9 and 10, B and F on the 4th and 3rd strings here. And you're gonna slide into that. And I think that coincides with the little bass thing that's happening there, so it's kind of cool. So then he does that G thing again. Then we go into this A thing, and this time he goes into this melody. We're playing over an A7 chord. So now he's using an A major pentatonic scale. A here is on the 17th fret of the 1st string. So he starts here. Then he kind of works his way back up the scale, bending this B note again, a whole step, and then going immediately to this note D, and then just working your way back up that scale pattern. Then I play these octave A's. You can just play this lower A if you want. But then I'll play a root A to the 9th or the 2nd degree, D, chromatic C, up to C sharp. So this whole part is 3, 4. Sometimes I'll grab that C sharp over here. Sometimes I'll play it up there. Sometimes I'll play, instead of just doing this by itself, you can do this while holding down this 17th fret here at 2nd string. harmonize that, you can using these major thirds. That sounds pretty cool. Then they do these power chords again. Now when we go back into this G part, Gary plays these licks here. This first one's starting on the flatted third of G, hammering on to B, the major third, then going up to G, the root. Then coming back on the second string, 6th fret, and bending that up a whole step up to the note G. Then he starts off the same way, but then goes to the flatted third, and he just hangs on that. Then he starts this again. The last line of this section is here. He starts on A, bends it up a whole step, coming back down, going to the root, and then bending that back up a whole bend, going to the major third here. Now I like to play it over here. So you can grab this note D here. Then we go over to the A chord. Now Gary goes up here and he plays like the second half of what he played before. So again, he's in this A major pentatonic pattern. Exact same lick we had before. And then, what he was doing here before, we're just going to do that an octave higher. Third finger on the 19th fret, going to bend that up a whole step. Then he does these little double stops. Just playing the first two strings, the E and the B string, both on the 17th fret here to the 14th fret. So starting with this bend on the 17th fret, whole bend, and then just going down the pentatonic scale. When you get down to the third string here, you're going to bend that up a whole step, bring it back down, go to 14, and then come back with this double stop bend between 16 of the third string and 17 of the second string. Just bending up the third string. So that whole A section sounds like this. 3, 4. Sometimes I like to get that little scream happening on this bend. And how I do that is, I spent a lot of time trying to make my bends really clean and trying to avoid getting that second string caught underneath my finger. Well, to do this scream, guess what? You let that second string get caught under your finger as you're bending up. So you're actually holding both of those strings down while you're bending. So you hear both of those notes. I call these the David Lee Roth screams. Because David Lee Roth, he was able to scream 2 notes at one time. It was like crazy, weird, cool. David Lee Roth scream. Anyway, where are we? We do that whole thing again. So this time, we go down into the E chord. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Goes to a G5 power chord, an A, a C, a D. Now I'm playing like a triad up here. Going up to the G triad, A triad, C, D. And then he starts this. So now he's playing an E minor pentatonic. So here he's starting on the 14th fret of the 3rd string, bending that up a whole step, and then going to the 1st string, 12th fret. Sometimes I like to keep my finger covered on the 2nd string too, and include that note when I'm doing this bend. You get that thing happening. Now we start this really cool series of triads. He's kind of outlining each chord as he's playing over it. So the first chord is an E, or an E major. And over that, he's playing this. First finger is anchored here on the 12th fret. Pinky, or another finger, whatever you want, is going to be playing this G sharp. That's the 3rd of the chord. That's the major 3rd of E. You do a pull off from that G sharp to E. The other note we're going to be playing here is 2nd finger here on the 14th fret of the 2nd string. That is C sharp. It's the 6 or the 13 of an E chord. So it adds out some extra color. It's not just straight root 3rd 5th. Now, what a lot of guys back then in the 70s, the way that they would approach this is just with straight alternate picking. And Gary, you could see some live footage of him. His right hand's kind of going crazy. I like to take a more economical approach. If we start on this G sharp with an upstroke, and then you do a pull off, then we go to the 2nd string, hit this note with a downstroke, and then we continue that down through to the 1st string, then we start that whole thing again with an upstroke. So, the first position, we're outlining an E13 chord, but the 3 notes together, if we just isolate those notes, it's just the 3 notes of a C sharp minor triad. But that's what we're going to be playing over the E. So, after that E chord, we're playing over a G, and what we're going to do here is playing the notes G and E on the 1st string, so our 1st finger stays where it was. And now we're just playing the 15th fret on the 1st string, and then we're using a different finger to play the 15th fret of the 2nd string. You could use the same finger if you want to do both. Or you can use 2 different fingers. Since you already were using 2 fingers, you kind of have the momentum built up. Just go from these frets to those frets. So that's what we play over the G chord. What chord is next? A. So here we play an A major triad. We got a C sharp here. 2nd finger is playing that C sharp here. 1st finger still on the 12th fret, 1st string. And now our pinky is playing this A on the 17th fret, 1st string. Next chord is a C chord, and the next triad is a C triad. 1st finger is still anchored on the 12th fret, and then we're going to play the 15th fret G, and then play the 13th fret C of the 2nd string. Then we have a D chord, and for the D chord, we're going to keep our first finger here on the 12th fret, keep it anchored. Pinky is going to play this A on the 17th fret of the first string, then, or third finger, whatever finger you want. And then we're going to grab this note D on the second string, 15th fret. That has a cool sound, because now we're in D, but we're also playing this E, which is like the 9 or the 2. That has a cool sound. Well, that's the Flying Turkey Trot by Gary Richrath in a nutshell. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell. But most of all, thank you very much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.